Look, you can make $250,000 a year by yourself just posting content on LinkedIn. You just need to know what kind of content to post. Because look, there are people who post content every single day on LinkedIn and they don't make a dollar. They can't get a single client. Yet there's people who post 3, 4 times a week and they're selling $10,000 packages on a weekly basis. The only difference is that the person who's selling these $10,000 packages every single week know the right kind of content to publish. Now, I made a living off doing this. I made a career off posting content on LinkedIn. I've been able to achieve my dreams. I've been able to travel the world. I have this beautiful apartment here behind me. Literally almost everything I've ever accomplished in my life has come from the foundational piece, which is LinkedIn content. So what I did was I hosted a free LinkedIn coaching call open for the public. I invited dozens and dozens of people to come where I taught the 5 types of content that actually get buyers on LinkedIn. I literally taught the 5 types of content styles that you need to publish that will bring you buyers on LinkedIn. I gave the formulas, I gave the examples, I gave the templates. I literally gave it all away. So I'm telling you, if you want to get buyers from LinkedIn, if you want to make $250K in a year, if you want people paying you $5,000 for your services, in this training, I literally teach you the exact types of content you need to be publishing so that you can attract those buyers directly using LinkedIn. So I want you to watch this training, take notes, and apply what I teach you. Make sure to apply it. So without any further ado, let's dive in. So as promised, what I'm going to be teaching today is the 5 types of content that actually bring buyers on LinkedIn. So I'm going to explain all this in as much detail as possible to you, because truthfully, what's been happening now, and I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, is LinkedIn is going through some massive changes, right? Like LinkedIn today is not the same platform it was a year ago. And the main reason behind this, truthfully, is because of AI, right? LinkedIn has implemented a ton of AI, right? So what's happening right now is that you might even notice it. Sometimes when you post content on LinkedIn, it gives you like an AI suggestion, all of that kind of stuff. So for that reason, yeah, like LinkedIn is really testing a lot of different AI tools, different things that they tell us about and things they don't tell us about. I'll be honest, I have a friend or two who works at LinkedIn, so I kind of know what's I at least have a better idea what's going on from the back end. So that's also something I'm going to share with you today. So just a couple things before we officially dive into the whole lesson, because I know some of you, this might be your first webinar with me. Some of you might be your second, some of you might be your 10th. I don't know. I've run a lot. So just a quick intro to who I am and why you should even listen to me. So this is me, Sara Masadi, actually from Toronto. So I know, so Evan was also from there too. So I truly I've been running my entire business on LinkedIn since 2017. Long story short, I never took a job in my entire life. I have always been an entrepreneur. When I graduated university, I ran a marketing agency. I was basically just helping financial planners across Canada get buyers. I would literally manage their LinkedIn accounts. I did that for about 4 years. It was a really successful business. And then right around the pandemic time, I switched over to online coaching and just teaching people. I felt like I could really scale my business a lot more that way and go from that level. So that's a little bit about me. Like I said, I've literally only run businesses and, LinkedIn, I've just been in and out of all in on LinkedIn rather, since 2017. Now I run a coaching business and all of that. So with that being said, if you've ever attended my webinars, you'll know that I always do one thing, because look, I respect your time. I know you're all here to learn all of that. So I'm just going to ask you of one thing. If you stick around to the very end of this call, I'll give you a full coaching call I had. So this right here is my group coaching doc I have with my paid clients. These are people who pay me thousands of dollars to be a part of my program, to learn from me and everything like that. And these are all the recordings we have. So this was probably one of the most important lessons we'd ever given. I gave this on February 6th, earlier this year, on a list of all of LinkedIn's algorithm updates, right? It's literally me explaining, okay, this is algorithm update 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the end. I think there was about 25 major algorithm updates according to LinkedIn that I was able to get. And I presented it to the clients. They truthfully told me at the end of the call, they said this was probably the most, impactful call they've ever been a part of. So I will give this to you, this full recording, if you just stick with me to the end. That's all I'm asking, is just give me your attention to the very end, and then we'll be all good to go. Sound good? Yes? All right. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, let's dive right into it. Now, over here, I'm going to go into all the examples and everything like this. Now, one thing I want to mention before we even get into, what kind of content works, what kind of content doesn't work. One thing I want you all to really understand is the science behind actually having a six-figure coaching business, right? So I look at a six-figure coaching business as anything $10,000 a month or above, right? Now, there's four elements to this, and I really want to be very specific about what these four elements are, how they work, everything like that. In order for you to run a coaching business, let's say making 10 grand a month, you are going to need four things. Number one, you're going to need a validated offer, right? Number two, you're going to need traffic, which is an audience of buyers. Number three, you're going to need content, which is obviously what we're going to go into today. And then number four is the actual conversion system itself, right? I'm telling you right now, it will never work if you're missing any one of these pieces. I'll give you an example. I had a call a few months ago with this guy who had 57,000 followers on LinkedIn. 57,000 followers. He was, I think he was a career coach or something like that, if I remember correctly. I get on this call with him, and I was honestly kind of surprised. I was like, what brought you to this call? And I look at his content. He has, he's getting thousands of views, everything. And then I asked him, like, how much are you making with your business right now, if you don't mind me asking? And he said, I'm making nothing. Like, I haven't gotten a sale, ever from LinkedIn. I was like, you have 57,000 followers. You're getting hundreds of likes and comments on your posts, yet you're not getting any buyers. And he's like, nope, haven't gotten a single buyer yet. And, kind of blew my mind thinking about it. I was like, wow, I look at his whole business and I'm like, this guy has no conversion system. He's not creating the right kind of content. So this is my whole point here, is that, it's not about the amount of followers you have. I met someone with 57,000 followers who was making zero money. And I know people with 500 followers on LinkedIn who are making 10, 20, 30 grand a month, right? So just one thing I really want, before I go into this lesson, I really want you to really wrap your head around is, it has nothing to do with the amount of followers you have. I promise you, it has nothing to do with the amount of followers you have. It has everything to do with the kind of content you're creating and the system you have, the back-end system as well. So now that, that's clear, any anxiousness behind that, we can put that away. We'll go into it. So look, when it comes to actually getting buyers from your content on LinkedIn, again, don't pay attention so much to the views, likes, and comments. I'm not saying to ignore them, but it's not the main metric, right? The number one metric you need to pay attention to when it comes to your content on LinkedIn is number of calls booked, right? I'm assuming all of you here, or the majority of you here, are selling high ticket services, right? Probably at least $1,000 and above, right? And if you're not, I highly recommend you do, because that's what LinkedIn is best for. Selling services at, 2, 3, 4, 5K, even anything above, really, I'd say 2K is where you should be selling at. Now, in order to sell these high ticket services on LinkedIn, it's all about calls booked, right? How many calls you are booking from the actual content that you're publishing. So remember, this is the goal. This is what you want to be optimizing for. So I've narrowed it down to 5 specific types of content that actually bring buyers on LinkedIn, right? What actually books you calls, what actually gets people over the edge, what gets people essentially just paying you for your services. So first one here, let me actually share this with you, is what I call a story experience post. Now, before I explain what the actual story experience post is, first thing I got to say here is that, look, one thing to remember with LinkedIn is do not teach random information, right? One thing to always remember, especially if you're starting or you don't have a huge audience yet or anything like that, is just remember this. First, people pay you for what you'll do for them. Then they'll pay you for what you know, and then they'll pay you for who you are, right? Those are the 3 levels in which people pay you for what you do, for what you'll do for them, for what you know, and for who you are, right? Like, I always use this example. We all know Tony Robbins right now, right? If this guy, Tony Robbins, right now launched a random crypto offer, right? People would buy it. Why? Because of who he is. People pay him just to show up to events because of who he is, right? Now, unless your brand is some mega level, then you're not going to get paid for who you are just yet, right? You're going to get paid for what you'll do and what you know. But one thing to remember with all of this is that when you are creating content on LinkedIn, you need to create you need to get people to trust you before you even tell them what you know, right? If I'm creating content on LinkedIn, right? Remember this, most people who see your content on LinkedIn are seeing you for the first or second time. right? So you have to assume they don't know you, they don't trust you, they probably don't even like you, right? So they're almost looking for every single reason to disqualify you. So for that reason, the way you actually get your buyers is by actually telling stories, experiences, and getting people to know you. So with that being said, I'll show you the first post right here. So I'll read it out loud to you. So I said, I got into a fight with my business coach yesterday. He told me that I need to eliminate one-on-one coaching from my program. I responded, I can't do that. It's the most valuable thing to my clients. He said to me, if you want to scale, you're either going to have to eliminate one-on-ones or increase your price. I agreed with that. The one thing I will never sacrifice is support to my clients. In my program, we have one-on-one coaching, group coaching, online course learning, direct chat support with me, and way more. My goal is simply to get my clients the best results as fast as possible. For that reason, as of this Friday, April 12th, I'm going to be increasing the price of my program by $1,000. If you've ever thought about working with me to scale your business to a six-figure level and get more clients, the time is now. I put a link to my calendar to schedule a call in the comments below. Just click on that link, find a time that works for you, and I'll personally help you create a 90-day game plan to get more clients from LinkedIn. A little bit of a typo, but whole point here. Now, one thing I want to mention here is I made a direct offer, right? Now, this is again, I want to be very intentional about this, right? My goal was to get buyers from my content, right? Which I'm assuming is a lot of your guys' goals. You want to get buyers from your content. This is why you have to make offers, right? And I intentionally made an offer. In this case, I'm not saying I make an offer for my services every day on LinkedIn, but I'm consistently making offers. But if you notice, I did it via the form of a story. I didn't just say, hey, everyone, I'm increasing my prices. Who wants to buy from me, right? I did not do that, right? What I said was I told a story, I explained why, and then I gained the trust of my audience and I made an offer. From this post alone, didn't get a ton of views. I mean, 1,900, not bad. We ended up booking 6 calls, right? From this post alone, right? Why? Because I told a story, right? Now, when you are creating content on LinkedIn, I'll tell you right now, the most important part of creating content is that first line. You have to get really good at creating hooks, right? You have to become like elite at creating hooks. A good hook is something that's not long, something that's catchy. And essentially it's like, I don't like to use this word, but you almost want to make it like somewhat clickbaity, right? So I like, look, if you read this line right here, I got into a fight with my business coach yesterday. It's going to make you want to read the rest of the post. What do you mean? What happened? How did you get into a fight? How did everything happen? So you have to get really, really good, because if your first line does not connect, people will not read the rest of your post. It's just not going to happen, right? So my whole point with a post like this and story posts is tell a story, talk about an experience. Don't be afraid to be controversial. Don't be afraid to be polarizing. And then you can make an offer, right? Now, I'm not saying you need to make an offer in every single post you make, but if you're going to do something, if you're going to make an offer, tie it to a story. If you're not going to make an offer, still create a story, right? You need to create a narrative around yourself, right? There has to be a narrative, right? For example, and I always say this, you need to be polarizing with your content. If you go on LinkedIn right now, if I was started scrolling on my feed right now, the reason nobody's getting clients on LinkedIn, or the majority of people are not getting clients, is because they're not polarizing. They're just giving very, very basic information. Like, oh, if you want to get a job, or, if you want to talk to recruiters or do this or do that, here's some tips, or here's this. People don't care. You almost have to it's called pattern interruption, right? So you have to get really, really good at pattern interruption via your content. And it all starts with you talking about your stories. Like for me, this is not me being like extra polarizing. I'm not talking about like my political views online here. I mean, I don't recommend you do that, but I'm saying, look, I'm not eliminating one-on-one, right? I've openly said this. I've talked about it. This is my view. People agree. Some people disagree. That's totally fine, right? Either way, I'm still creating this kind of content. This is what I'm publishing. This is how we're going to do it. Now, same thing from another end. One thing I talk about a lot of my content that makes me polarizing is I completely reject automation tools on LinkedIn, right? So my whole point with your content, if you want to start getting buyers, is you need to stand for something and you need to stand against something. Like, I'm not sure, like a hypothetical example here. If any of you guys are career coaches, if any of you here are career coaches, let's say hypothetically you just stand against resumes. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just giving you an example, right? You could honestly say, you know what? I don't believe in resumes. I think resumes are the worst way to get a job. There's an internal job market that you need to get in touch with. It's actually about networking. That's a controversial opinion. And you know what's going to happen? Some people will vehemently disagree with you. Fine. All good. Some people will full on jump on board and be like, yes, I agree. Resumes are a terrible way to get a job. It's all about the networking. It's all about this. So again, my whole point, do not be afraid to polarize, right? Do not be afraid. In fact, you should polarize. Come up with controversial opinions. But again, don't be controversial for the sake of being controversial. Those are the worst kind of people. Stand for something. Like, honestly mean it, right? Like, back it up. This is really, really what's going to help you. Now, a couple things in terms of technicalities here is when you are putting call to actions, whether it be an offer for a call, offer for a lead magnet, I'm going to go into that in a second, reduce the barrier to entry, right? Reduce the barrier to entry. Like, I literally put the link in the comments below. Will that hurt the reach of the post? Yeah, a little bit. But again, I don't care about that. I don't create content for the purpose of getting views. I create the content for the purpose of booking calls and converting those calls, right? So even if, you might hear people say, oh, don't put links in your content, it hurts your views. Don't put links in the comments, it hurts your views. Would you rather have a post that has 5,000 views, 0 calls booked, and no one buys from you? Or would you rather have a post that has 200-300 views and you have 4 calls booked and someone ends up purchasing from you, right? You have to look at your business this way, right? Like, we're not trying to be influencers on LinkedIn. We are business owners using content as a machine to get buyers. The likes, comments, followers, all of that stuff, these are byproducts, right? This is just kind of like a result of doing the activities that we're doing. I've never cared for followers, right? If I wanted to, I could have like 500,000 followers on LinkedIn right now, but I couldn't care less about it, right? So anytime you're creating content, please do not optimize for views, optimize for what I'm telling you. Okay. Everything I'm saying makes sense so far? Yeah. Okay. I see Michelle giving me the thumbs up. All right. Sounds good. By the way, we will have, I'll make ample time for questions at the end as well. So we'll have like a solid, 10-15 minute question period at the end, and we'll be all good to go. Okay, so let's continue on. So next one here is testimonial posts. This is pretty straightforward, but if you have testimonial posts, I absolutely recommend you share like the heck out of them. Now, couple notes here. Now, this is what I call kind of like a home run testimonial post, where it's like, okay, yeah, you helped someone achieve a very specific goal. They got great results. You interviewed them, all of that. If you have that, if you have those kind of testimonials, absolutely share those at all costs, right? Like, and don't be afraid to share them more than once, by the way, right? You can reshare your testimonials. It's not like it's a one-hit wonder by any means, right? So for example, this is a post I made, right? This is Amy Hendrickson. She's the lady in my coaching program. She's a book writing coach. She helps people publish their first, second books. She helps them pretty much from everything from like creating the manuscript to getting it published, all of that. Long story short, when she enrolled into my program, she had just been laid off from her job actually. And she's like, I don't want to get another job. I want to run a business. Like, I'm tired of working for people. She comes into the program 2 weeks in, makes her ROI, hits 10K months, is scaling from there. And pretty much she's like, yeah, like, she's a pretty good success story, right? She even took the month of July off because she wanted to, right? So what I did was I set up a one-on-one interview with her, right? Don't be afraid to do this with your clients. Set up one-on-one interviews with them, ask them questions. And the formula for this is very simple. What made you want to work with me? What was your situation before working with me? What was your situation after working with me? Would you recommend me? Right? Four, that's the structure for all your testimonials. Those 4 things, right? Now, like I said, this is a home run post, so you may not get these every single day, but don't be afraid. Like, if someone sends you a message and says, hey, I got a job interview, thanks for your advice, that's a testimonial. Share it. Now, I know some of you say, oh, like client confidentiality, I need their approval. Totally understand that, right? That's a reasonable thing. Just block out their name, right? Scratch out their name. One thing to remember though with testimonial posts, especially on LinkedIn, do use ugly testimonials. And what I mean by ugly testimonials is, do not go on Canva or some editing website and try and create and make some, nice looking testimonial. That people don't like that. What people like to see is raw, authentic testimonials. Like, I've had WhatsApp conversations where I just take a screenshot of what somebody says to me and I just posted that, right? Even though I scribbled out the name, I got that and it was really, really easy. Let me see if I can find an example for you real quick here, because this is what people care about more than anything when it comes to actually getting their attention. Here, look at this one right here. Right? This was me and a client. She sent me a message on WhatsApp, obviously, for privacy purposes. She didn't want her name mentioned. I was like, totally cool. Blocked out her name, but this is a WhatsApp. And she's like, thanks. I did 13K in 4 days. Nice. Another client. This is from our group chat. Hey, everyone. So sorry for not being able to attend the group calls lately. Other than that, I'm happy to tell you that I've signed 3 clients this week only, and I blah, 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 blah. You see what I'm saying? Like, these are imagine I took her words, made some Canva post about it and made it look pretty. doesn't have the same impact. This is how you want to do it, right? And again, it doesn't all like these are more like, again, I call these home runs. But if someone says, oh, like if you're a business coach and you help someone book a sales call, great. If you help someone get an interview, that's still a win. Don't be afraid to share your wins, no matter how big or how small, right? Share wins. At the end of the day, social proof is going to be your best friend when it actually comes to getting clients from LinkedIn. I'm telling you right now, social proof, share it, share it, share it as much as possible. Now, one other thing to remember, your best testimonials, put them in your featured section. Put them here, right? Put them on your featured section. So when someone actually comes and views you, think about it. If someone comes and views my profile right here, what are they going to see? Like, oh, Amy Hendrickson, she made 10K. This guy, Jason Lum, he's 21 years old. He's made 20 grand in a month. Okay, this guy's 20. You see what I mean? Like, you want to have your bet, like, not necessarily your most successful testimonials, the ones that are just going to impact people the most, right? Whatever you feel is going to really move the needle with your content, that's what you should be showing with the on your LinkedIn profile. So this is what your featured section should be about. Don't put anything else. Now, if you don't have a lot of testimonials, that's fine, right? Remember one thing as well. You yourself can be your best testimonial, right? I'll show you another example here as well. This is one of my clients here. Whoops, sorry. Hang on. Okay, sorry, my screen froze. There we go. Okay, so this is one of my clients, Giannis here, right? When he was starting, he was telling me he was just starting his coaching business. So I told him he was asking me about testimonials, right? So long story short, his offer is he helps men improve their testosterone, energy, performance levels, all of that. And if you look here, what we did was we created a testimonial post for him, but it was himself. He is his own testimonial. He's like, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 3 years ago. The doctor said to me, there's the CT scan shows a rather large tumor next to your heart. He talks about his entire life going through chemotherapy, immunotherapy, how he was able to get himself out of it, how he was able to build his body, how he was able to get himself, you obviously can see the before and after picture. So if you don't have a lot of client testimonials, this is one hell of a testimonial. Now, I hope you don't have a story as bad as this, as hard as this. I don't want to use the word bad, but you know what I mean? But either way, that you can use yourself as a testimonial. If you're a career coach and you were able to, navigate through some, I don't know, finance or whatever, use yourself as a testimonial, right? So don't be afraid. Like if you're starting, you don't have a lot of testimonials yet, you can definitely use yourself. Super easy, super clear to do all of that. But make sure you have social proof. That's the first thing people will look for. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the next one here, right? Now, this, in my opinion, is one of the most important of all of them, if not the most, is what I call a 2-step post, right? Now, a 2-step post is what I call remember this, for someone to buy from you on LinkedIn, they need to consume on average about an hour's worth of your content, an hour. Right? That's the average thing. Like if you're selling anything a high ticket, they need to consume more. Now, this is what I call the funnel of commitment. When it comes to your content on LinkedIn, right? Even if you create content every single day on LinkedIn, right? Each post that you're creating on LinkedIn is what, like a minute, 2-minute read? Like it's nothing crazy, right? It's just they're very short. They're almost like dopamine hits. So, and again, nothing wrong with that. You absolutely need that. That's top of funnel content, but you want to be able to give people more. Right? You want to be able to give people something else to consume that's longer, deeper, more interesting, right? It's very hard, and I'm telling you from experience, it's very hard to take somebody from a 30-second LinkedIn post that they read to buying a $5,000 program from you, right? I'm not saying it won't happen. It will happen, right? It's happened for me. It happens for a lot of people, but it's not something you want to rely on, right? What you do want to rely on is using your content to lead to more in-depth content. So for example, you guys are living proof of this right now. This webinar, I have your attention for the next hour, right? I literally have your attention for the next hour, so I can actually give you more value. I can give you more, attention. I can give you more, I can teach you more things, more than just a LinkedIn post. Think about everything I've just taught you in the last 15 minutes alone, right? That would be it would take me at least 3, 4, 5 weeks to create all that kind of content in just these short written posts. And it wouldn't even have the same kind of impact. So my point being is that you need to be able to have good lead magnets, right? It can be a training video. It can be an ebook. It can be whatever, but something where people are consuming more from you, right? More than just a 30-second read. So with that being said, let me give you an example. So this post here generated me $15,000. This was probably the most successful post I'd ever created on LinkedIn. And I said, yesterday, while I was in line at Starbucks, I heard a man talk about ChatGPT to his wife. He said, I checked our flight itinerary, but ChatGPT said there were better options available. This man was clearly in his 50s or 60s, yet he spoke as if ChatGPT was an everyday tool for him. This was a defining moment for me. It made me realize that common society is now using ChatGPT for everyday use, and it will continue to grow from here. Moral of the story, get serious about using ChatGPT for your business. There are so many areas it can make your life easier. Content creation, client acquisition, organization. The key is simply knowing how to use it. So I'm going to help you with that. I have a video lesson in my coaching program called How to Create Profitable Content on LinkedIn that attracts buyers using ChatGPT. This is a lesson that only my clients have access to, but I will give it to you for totally for free. If you'd like access to the training, just comment ChatGPT below, right? This post, we ended up getting, I believe, we got obviously a lot of engagement on it, but we ended up getting about 26 people who ended up requesting the training. Of the 26 people who requested the training, we had 6 people who booked a call with us, and then we had 3 people who purchased. And at the time, it was a 5K offer that we were selling, right? So a single post can do it. But do you see what I mean about the funnel of commitment? Like if I were to just create this post, had no call to action, well, nobody would have ever booked or no one would have bought anything, right? Or if I created this, or if I just created the call to action and said, oh, I have a lesson in my coaching program about ChatGPT, and I gave no context to why it was important, I'd probably get none either. So you have to have both, right? You have to create the contextuality with the story that you're actually creating and tie that to a call to action. So you want to have both of those operating at once, right? And then obviously, I just took a picture of me at Starbucks, kind of like adding to it, adding like basically whenever you put photos on LinkedIn, a lot of people ask me about this. The answer is any photo you put should complement your post, right? So it should add to the post. Right? It's almost like a YouTube. When you watch YouTube, you see the title, you look at the thumbnail. If the thumbnail makes sense and connects to the title, you have a higher likelihood of watching the video, right? Same thing on LinkedIn, right? Just make sure that you actually have to look at your photo and say, does this align with what I'm talking about, right? Again, I literally wrote this post in 5 minutes, right? But it was just that everything clicked when I was actually doing it. So something to absolutely remember with what you're doing on LinkedIn. So do not be afraid to put call to actions, but make sure you have everything all set up. Okay, awesome. So let's continue on here. So the next one here is what I call direct call to action posts. Now this one right here is going to yield you the least amount of views, but it can be your most profitable content too, right? This is where, look, if you have built enough brand equity with your audience, right? So what I mean by that is if you've been adding value, if you've been telling stories, if you've been getting people interested in you, if you've been getting people liking you, commenting on your posts, like you've started to build a bit of trust and momentum through your content, you can, and in fact, you should make a direct call to action for your services, right? You should just tell people exactly what you do. Now, if you did this every day, yeah, you'd burn out your audience. If you did this every day, yeah, you'd probably hurt your business in the long run. But if you're posting content every single day on LinkedIn and, like I said, you've gotten some momentum with it, don't be afraid to make a direct offer for your services. You don't know who's ready to go, right? When someone enrolls into my program, right? When someone enrolls into my program, the very first thing I tell them to do when I coach them is I say, let's make a direct call to action for your services. Let's see who's there. Let's see. If there's nobody who's there, then okay, well, there's no net loss, right? You're in the same place you were. So it's only going to benefit you or keep you in the same place. That's a pretty good deal in my opinion, right? So again, don't be afraid to make call to actions via your direct call to actions via your content. Where did that post go? Okay, here we go. So again, I'll just show it to you right now. So this is a post I made a couple months ago where I said, attention, talk to your niche. I said, I'm looking to work closely together with a few more coaches that want to get their business to a 6-figure level with my personal guidance. I will personally help you with, and then I explain the benefits. This is what I help people with, right? Creating offers, figuring out where your buyers are on LinkedIn, learning what kind of content gets those buyers interested, converting them into paying clients. And then what I was doing was I created a price raise, right? At the time I said, look, my prices are going up. So if you want to work with me, just message me the word LinkedIn, right? And I will reach out to you with all the details. Again, this post got very little likes and very little engagement compared to what I typically get. But again, we were able to convert. I think we converted 2 buyers from this, right? Again, because I was able to make the offer, right? I made a direct offer. People wanted to know what I was talking about. This created interest. Now, the formula for this is really simple, right? You call out your audience, You tell them exactly who you're specifically helping. Right now, I know the niche thing is a little tricky for some people because they're like, oh, I help like, this people. Look, at the end of the day, when it comes down to the niche, you're either niching down to a person or you're niching down to a problem. Right? Those are the only two things you can niche down to: a person or a problem. Call out who you're niching down to, right? So if you're talking, if hypothetically, if your niche is CEOs, you can be like attention CEOs, or if your niche is a problem, let's say people who are, trying to get past the interview stage, attention corporate or attention professionals who can't get past the interview stage, right? This is for you. Boom. Tell them I'm looking to bring on X amount of people. And then you have to put some level of scarcity in it. People don't take action unless there's a need to take action right away, right? One of the, basic early things you learn in business is you're either selling vitamins or painkillers, right? Don't sell vitamins. Vitamins are nice to have. Painkillers are a necessity, right? So you have to be able to create some kind of pain. You have to show people like, hey, this is not here forever, right? This is very, very, very important to mention through your content. Create a level of scarcity. Now, at the same time, don't create false scarcity. If you're not raising your prices, then don't mention that. If you're, maybe you're doing a discount, it could be whatever. Maybe you're only putting a limit on like 5 people you can work with. Whatever it is, mention that. But you have to put some kind of, you gotta cap it at some point, right? You got to say like, look, this is it. Like I'm only doing this, right? And this will get people to take action. So that's that. Now, I'm gonna go to the next post right now. So the next one here is what I call a viral video post. Now, again, I probably shouldn't use the word viral. I don't like that word, but it's very important. Now, this was probably my most successful post in terms of views, but not in terms of closing, but it still worked, right? So this post got almost 400,000 views here, this one that I published on LinkedIn. Now, this goes back to the big LinkedIn algorithm change, right? The big LinkedIn algorithm change right now is that LinkedIn is favoring videos big time, big time. Like, if you asked me this time last year, what kind of content should you create on LinkedIn? My answer was create whatever kind of content you feel comfortable and the kind of content you can create consistently, which is the truth at that time. Now, LinkedIn is going big time on videos. Have you guys seen like the reels are now a thing on LinkedIn? People are posting reels. All of this stuff has become like very, very video centric. Whether we like it or not, LinkedIn is pushing. If I showed you my views right now, the views we get on videos are way more than we're getting on written posts. So this is something you absolutely have to get very consistent with when it comes to creating content on LinkedIn. Now, couple things. I've had a lot of people reach out to me saying, "Oh, I've been creating videos on LinkedIn, but my views are still bad." Right? Like I thought you said that, videos or views are going to be way more. A lot of people tell me this, right? Look, the answer is that yes, naturally the video views are going to be more, but if you're creating bad content or you're creating content that LinkedIn doesn't want to see, well, then it's not going to work, right? So what LinkedIn wants to see, and I'll tell you this exact formula right now, is first of all, again, you have to come up with some kind of controversial opinion, state something, teach something, but in a polarizing way. Now, the structure of this is simple. Your caption for the video should lead to the video. Do you see what I'm saying? So look at this, for example. I'll read this post to you. A viral post will not save your business. You can have a post with 70,000 views and not get a single buyer from it. On the other hand, you can have a post with 500 views and get multiple buyers from it. You must learn how to create profitable content. In this video, I show you exactly how. Do you see how I'm not giving everything away? I'm saying I'm using the caption to lead to the video, right? Because ultimately, I want the attention via the video. I see a lot of people create content on LinkedIn and they kind of give everything away in the caption and there's no need to watch the video. They're like, all right, well, cool. Thanks for everything. Like, I don't need to sit down and, watch this video for the next 2 minutes. So again, very important that you're being contextual. You understand what LinkedIn actually wants from the videos on LinkedIn. Right. So again, obviously this post was, a bit of an anomaly in the sense that it got almost like 400,000 views, all of that. I think, I don't know, maybe someone was playing a game on me because I literally said a viral post will not save your business and the post went viral, which I found ironic. But my point being is that, yes, you got to get good with the video right now. Going with everything, right? I'm just going to give you the direct metrics of what you need to know, right? When it comes to your content, right? I'm going to write this down or I'll just tell you. So first thing to remember when it comes to your content is that, yeah, you got to be posting every day, right? If you are trying to get buyers from LinkedIn, if you're actually trying to get people actually purchasing from you on a regular basis, you got to show up every day because unfortunately, LinkedIn and all social medias are like this, that the moment you stop posting, you're irrelevant, right? It's just how the content hamster wheel works, right? The moment you stop posting, it's not like YouTube or Google where, you can stay relevant for a long time. It's just not the case. Oppositely, though, you have to publish every day. Now, if you're publishing 5 times per week on LinkedIn, you should have roughly, I'd say 2 or 3 out of the 5 posts should have some kind of call to action. Right now, that call to action can be for a call. That call to action can be for your services. That call to action could be for a lead magnet. Right? Those are pretty much the 3 things you can offer. Right? Now, again, take this with a grain of salt. If you offer your services every single time in your post, it'll probably burn out your audience. Always lead with more value, right? Always try and lead with more value. Now, everything, and you have to analyze your content in terms of the output it produces, right? So, for example, if you post 5 times per week, sure, count up your views if you'd like. But that's not the first metric I'd look at. At the end of every week, you need to look at a couple things, right? How many offers did you make and what were the result of those offers? So let's say, for example, let's say you 1 week you only made offers for a lead magnet. Let's say you made let's say Michelle, you made an ebook, right? Let's say hypothetically you made an ebook and you're like, all right, I'm giving this ebook away. You give this ebook away and you make the offer in, let's say 4 out of 5 of your posts. The numbers I pay attention to is how many people requested it. From the people that requested, how many people booked a call. From the people that booked a call, how many people actually purchased, right? That's the way to look at it. Sure, if you want to evaluate the views, go ahead, but that's not the metric you should be paying attention to. You should be paying attention to how many people requested it, how many people led to a call. All of this should lead to a call. Like I said, you can make a direct call to action for a call, not bad, or you can make a direct call to action for your services. Again, when the time is right, go ahead. But the best thing to do is just lead them through more value. Again, you have to ask them, how can I get more of your attention? I'll tell you right now, from my own experience, we have how many people? We have about 30 people in this call right now, right? In 30 people in this call, this is what's going to happen. At the end of this call, some of you will book a call with me. Some of you will purchase. Some of you will never talk to me again. Some of you will watch 3, 4, 5 more webinars before you come to me and buy. That's just the reality. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is get you to consume as much of my content as humanly possible, right? And again, I'm not saying you need to run webinars twice a month like me. I'm not saying you need to have like a YouTube channel like me, post all of this stuff, but you have to get people to consume more of your content, right? And it's not about the frequency, it's more so about the depth, right? Time. How much more can they consume of you? Get them there, and then all of a sudden, yes, you will have a very healthy business. And then after that, it just becomes a numbers game, right? It all just becomes a numbers game, right? How many calls did you book? What was your close rate? From the close rate, how many did you convert? All from there, right? So I'll run through this really quickly here, so at least you guys can see this, right? Can you all see my screen? Yes. So again, very simple. Let's say we go with the content, right? So let's just say let's say you have a goal of, let's say $10,000 a month, right? Per month, right? Let's say your price point, let's just say, I'll just do 333, right? So number of sales needed, 3, right? Straightforward. If you need 3 sales, right, in a month, ultimately all this boils down to is your close rate, right? So ultimately, the number of your income is going to be directly correlated to how many calls you actually schedule. Now, an average close rate, if you're following the method I'm teaching you right now, should be about 30%. A conservative close rate is going to be about, let's say, 25%, right? 25% means 1 out of every 4 calls turns into a paying client of $3,333, right? Which is not bad. So therefore, if you wanted to get 3 clients in a month, you need to book 12 calls. 12 calls needed to make 10K in a month, per month. That's not that bad. You divide that by 4 weeks in a month, that's 3 calls per week, right? If you want to make $10,000 a month following this formula, you only need to book 3 calls in a week, right? If you made an offer for a lead magnet or something every day on LinkedIn, you would only need 1 person to say yes to your lead magnet, right? It's very, very straightforward, but it's about learning what kind of content people want to see, learning what kind of lead magnets they want to see, all of this kind of stuff. So again, this is very, very important for you all to understand. This is why I said at the beginning of the call, yes, content is one of the most crucial pillars of everything that we're talking about. But at the end of the day, you need to also have the conversion system in place, right? You need to know what you're offering. You need to know, how you're actually going to get these people on calls. Like there's the 4 pieces, right? You got to make sure your offer is validated. You got to have an audience, because again, you could have the best content in the world, but if the wrong people are looking at it, it doesn't matter, right? It literally falls on deaf ears. right? So it doesn't lead to anything. So you have to make sure you have an audience of buyers, you have the right offer that you're selling, you're creating the right content, which is what we went over today. And then obviously the conversion system, right? You need to make sure at the end of the day, you're booking calls, right? You need, like, if at the end of the day, at the end of the week, you don't book any calls, no matter how much activity you did, understand that something is incorrect, right? No matter how much content you publish, no matter how many lead magnets you make, something is incorrect if you're not booking 4 calls or 5 calls or whatever that number is, right? The calls, your income is directly correlated to the number of calls you're booking. So again, with that being said, obviously I wish I could go through all of this. I only asked for your time for an hour today. So there's a whole other element to all of this, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this up for questions. I know some of you guys ask questions, so I'll check the chat in just a second. But first of all, appreciate you all for attending. So first things first, what I'm going to do now is for the free training that I promised everybody. So if you guys, I know some of you might have jumped in a bit later, just to let you know, for everyone that attended, I offered this group coaching call. So this is from my program, this lesson from February 6th right here, I gave to everyone. So this is me, a full group coaching call I gave to my clients where I literally gave them all of the LinkedIn algorithm updates, right? Every LinkedIn algorithm update that was mentioned in 2024 internally by LinkedIn, I created a coaching call on it, gave it to my clients. I'm opening it up to you guys now. Only thing I'm going to ask from all of you today is just send me a message on LinkedIn. So right after this call, tell me, say, hey, I attended the training. Can you please send me the LinkedIn algorithm updates call, and I will personally deliver that to you right away. So you'll be all good to go on that side. So just send me that message and we'll be all good to go. So there you have it, a full training on the 5 types of content that actually get you buyers. Like I said, I want you to go out and execute on this. Now, content is a huge foundational piece. Remember that. But it is not the only piece. You also need to know the conversion system side, which is actually getting people on the phone to purchase from you. You need to know where to find your audience of buyers. You need to know, make sure your offer is actually the right offer, right? So while content is a fundamental piece, it's 25% of the equation. The other 75% is having an offer that people actually want to buy, having a conversion system to actually get these people on the phone, and having an audience of buyers. So for that reason, you and I can have a one-on-one call where I will personally sit down with you and give you the exact game plan of what you need to do to get your business to a 6-figure level just using LinkedIn. The only thing you need to do is click on the link below. There is a link to my calendar in the description box. Click on that link, book the call with me. And here's the best part. If I feel I can help you even more, I'll tell you about my coaching program and how I can coach you directly working one-on-one with me to get your business to a 6-figure level just using LinkedIn. So take advantage of that right now. I might delete the link if it gets too populated or too many people start booking. So take advantage now. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.